What happened when a stranger helped a woman cross the street? On a bustling street in the heart of the city, two lives were about to intertwine in a way neither of them could have predicted. It was the kind of busy day where everything seemed rushed, where the noise of honking cars and distant chatter filled the air. The world spun around, oblivious to the moments of serendipity happening in the small spaces between it all. Derek Thomas, a young black man in his mid-20s, was hustling to get to his part-time job at a local cafe. He was dressed in a worn-out hoodie, jeans, and sneakers with a backpack slung over his shoulder. His mind was preoccupied with the weight of responsibilities, bills, rent, and his dream of making it big in the tech world. He had spent years working jobs that barely paid the bills, all while studying coding in the hopes of one day landing a position at a major tech company. But for now, his reality was different. He was working at the cafe, hustling every day just to stay afloat. As Derek walked briskly through the busy intersection, he noticed an elderly woman struggling to cross the street. Her name was Margaret Whitmore, an 80-year-old white woman with silvery hair and glasses perched on the edge of her nose. She had been standing at the corner, clearly unsure of how to make her way across the hectic road. Derek paused for a moment, watching her, noticing the apprehension in her posture. The elderly woman held onto her purse tightly, glancing from side to side, waiting for a moment to cross. Without a second thought, Derek approached her. He had always been someone who believed in helping others when they needed it most, even if he didn't have much to offer. It was part of who he was, a person who saw the world through the lens of empathy. "Excuse me, ma'am. Can I help you cross the street?" Derek asked, his voice gentle. Margaret looked up at him, startled by the sudden offer. Her eyes softened as she took in the sight of the young man before her. There was something kind in his eyes, something that made her feel safe, despite the rush of people and the blaring horns surrounding them. "Oh, I would appreciate that very much," she said with a small, grateful smile. Derek smiled back and extended his arm. "It's no trouble at all. Let me make sure you get across safely." Together, they stepped into the crosswalk, Derek carefully guiding Margaret as they navigated the busy street. The world seemed to slow down for a moment as they moved together. The sounds of the city faded away, and all that mattered was the simple act of kindness they were sharing. Margaret, grateful for his help, noticed something different about Derek, a calmness in his demeanor, a warmth that contrasted with the fast-paced, often impersonal world around them. Once they reached the other side of the street, Margaret took a deep breath, feeling a sense of relief wash over her. She looked up at Derek with genuine appreciation. "Thank you, young man. That was very kind of you," she said, her voice filled with gratitude. "It's no problem at all," Derek replied with a modest shrug. "I'm just happy to help." Margaret studied him for a moment, sensing that there was something more to Derek than just the ordinary young man she had encountered on the street. There was a quiet strength in him, a resilience that she admired. She had seen many people in her life, but there was something about Derek that stood out. "You know," Margaret said thoughtfully, "I've lived in this city for a long time, and I've met a lot of people. But it's rare to meet someone like you, someone who still believes in helping others." Derek smiled, though there was a hint of sadness in his eyes. Sometimes it's the small things that matter most. People forget that, I guess. Margaret nodded, her expression turning more serious. "You're right. The world can be a tough place, but there are always people out there who make it better." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The city continued around them, but the connection they shared in that fleeting moment was something neither of them would forget. "Well," Margaret said after a while, breaking the silence, "I was actually headed to a cafe down the street for some coffee. If you're not in a hurry, would you like to join me? I'd like to thank you properly." Derek hesitated for a moment. He had places to be, but there was something about Margaret's offer that felt genuine. He didn't have many people in his life who took the time to ask him how he was doing, let alone offer a kind gesture. After a quick mental calculation, he decided he could spare a few minutes. "That sounds nice," he said with a smile. "I'd love to." They walked together to a nearby cafe, a cozy little spot that had been a part of Margaret's daily routine for years. Inside, the smell of freshly brewed coffee filled the air. Margaret led Derek to a table near the window, and they sat down, chatting as they waited for their drinks. As they talked, Derek learned more about Margaret's life. She was a successful businesswoman who had built her own company from the ground up. Though she had retired several years ago, she still kept a close eye on her investments and often offered guidance to young entrepreneurs. She shared stories of her journey, of the challenges she had faced, and the lessons she had learned along the way. Derek listened intently, inspired by her words. He could feel the weight of her experience, the wisdom that came from years of perseverance. As they continued to talk, Derek found himself opening up to Margaret in a way he hadn't done with anyone in a long time. He spoke about his dreams of becoming a software developer, about the struggles he faced as a young man trying to make it in the world, and the frustration of feeling stuck in his current job. Margaret's eyes sparkled as she listened. "You've got a lot of potential, Derek," she said thoughtfully. "You just need the right opportunity to show the world what you can do." Derek looked down, feeling a sense of uncertainty. "I don't know. It feels like I'm always one step behind, like no matter how hard I work, I'm never going to get there." Margaret reached across the table and placed a hand on his. "That's the thing about life, Derek. It's never about how fast you get there. It's about staying steady, even when things are tough. You're doing the right thing by keeping at it. I've seen many people quit when things got hard, but you've got the heart to keep going." Derek's chest tightened as her words sank in. He hadn't realized how much he needed to hear that, how much he longed for someone to believe in him. Margaret's kindness wasn't just about the help she had offered earlier, it was the mentorship she was offering now. The belief that he had what it took to make something of himself. "You know," Margaret continued, "I've been thinking about something. I'm not sure if it's something you'd be interested in, but I could use someone like you to help me with my business. I've been wanting to find a personal assistant to help with some of the day-to-day tasks, and I think you'd be a perfect fit." Derek was taken aback. "You want me to work for you?" Margaret smiled warmly. "I think you have a lot of potential, Derek. I'd be happy to mentor you and help you grow. And who knows, maybe one day we could even work together as partners." Derek's heart skipped a beat. He had never imagined that a simple act of kindness would lead to an opportunity like this. It felt surreal, like his life was about to change in ways he hadn't even dared to dream. "I don't know what to say," Derek said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I never expected this." "You don't have to say anything right now," Margaret replied. "Take some time to think about it. But remember, sometimes the opportunities we're looking for come in unexpected ways." Derek left the cafe that day with a new sense of hope. He knew that the road ahead would still be difficult, but he also knew that he didn't have to walk it alone. Margaret's offer was just the beginning of something much bigger, a journey that would transform his life and give him the chance to help others, just as she had helped him. As Derek worked alongside Margaret over the following months, he learned invaluable lessons about business, leadership, and the importance of giving back. He became more confident in his abilities, and soon he was not just an assistant, he was an integral part of the company. Margaret's mentorship gave him the skills and knowledge he needed to grow, and together they created new opportunities for people in their community. Derek never forgot the small act of kindness that had set everything in motion. It was a reminder that even the simplest gestures could have the power to change lives, and that the road to success often begins with a single step, taken in the right direction. And so, Derek's journey continued, a testament to the power of kindness, mentorship, and the belief that even when life feels uncertain, there are always opportunities waiting to be discovered.